Lori had the.
Okay, Lori, are you still there?
Yeah, Lori Lamson. She's right there.
There
So
you
why
go.
don't you introduce yourself, Lori, and say what you're up to and what you need?
Hi there. I
Okay.
am, I don't know if you remember me. You're
Of
in
course.
one of my books. We've met a few
Introduce
times.
yourself, Lori, and say what you're up to and what you need. Uh-oh. What?
I'm
Got it.
right now what I'm working on. Elizabeth invited me because of this acting book that I'm working on, similar to the Now Write books, but for actors. You have a guest here, Thane, who already contributed to my book, a fantastic piece.
Hi, Lori.
And to everyone, if you could mute your microphones if it's not your turn, that would be great. Thanks, guys.
Especially if you have a dog like you.
Yeah,
Yes.
this dog is perfect.
Okay. Uh-oh, she's gone.
Oh, I wonder if she's got a dog. We have terriers, and they're always a problem.
Yes. Yes. But okay, great.
Okay, yes.
And I know Susan Flakes.
Oh, wow,
Great.
okay.
So go for it. So what are you up to and how are you doing?
I'm good. I've written a lot of scripts just to introduce myself. A lot of educational marketing and some entertainment and a feature film that has won a bunch of awards. And working on new developing projects, not that new, ones that I've been working on a long time. I'm getting them farther along. And I have a TV show, a TV pilot that was optioned and they're working on selling it.
Great.
So, but I've edited these books of writing exercises, and I long time wanted to do it for actors as well. And I started on it, but I didn't get very far. And now I have someone helping me and working with me. So I'm moving forward.
Great. Great. So go for it.
Go ahead. What do you need?
I need actors, casting directors, teachers, acting teachers, actors who are interested in contributing a 2 to 5 page piece about their best kept secret about acting. It could be different topics. And it's often rather personal, you know, why they came up with this exercise, how it's helped them or how they've seen it help other people. It's pretty open.
Okay. Well, now are you on the table email? Do you get the table emails, Lori?
I just learned about it from Elizabeth. I guess this is a new version of what you guys were doing in person.
Yes. We've been running the table here in Los Angeles for 27 years, and we have offshoots all over the country, and we meet every Thursday when it's not a pandemic at a restaurant. And there's a table email that you can get onto. David Bartlett, I guess, can be a conduit to Howard, I suppose, and
Signing you on.
Yeah, and then you can send out that request, and you'll get a fair amount of response, I imagine.
That's great. I think Elizabeth already sent it for me. She was in Now Write science fiction, fantasy, and horror, like you were, Mark.
Great.
And so I think she sent it to your group, but I could also. I mean, it'll be great.
Yeah,
Sure. If anyone wants to get on the table email, you can email me. My email is davefilms, DAVEFILMS @hotmail.com. And that's, you know, half the people up here today know how to reach me too. Mark Lane, obviously, Adam, Dave Edison, whatnot. You can also chat with me right now, and I can paste it back to you.
Great.
Right.
Okay, yeah, if you put it in the chat, I'll just grab it that way.
Okay.
The main thing, two things. I mean, be specific as to what you're looking for. Personal is very nice. Be specific as to whether you want it for free or if it sells, if there'd be some pay. I mean, it's okay.
It's all explained in my invite.
So it's all there. That's wonderful.
Great. Okay, cool. So anything else, Lori?
That's it for now. Thanks for having me today.
Yay.
Okay.
So now, Adam, one thing I should explain to the newcomers is that we're actually doing a live cast on my Mr. Sci-Fi YouTube channel as well as the table meeting. So we alternate between the turns that you guys take and questions from the Mr. Sci-Fi audience. So Adam, do we have any questions yet?
Let me unmute first. There we go. No questions yet, but people do enjoy Lori's background, so that's good.
Okay.
Great.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. So anyone else east of Los Angeles at this point? Anyone in a different time? Yeah. Okay, Monica, if you want to take your turn, go for it, please.
Okay, so I am doing this. Yeah, I'm doing this actually from North Carolina because I usually am in New York City. I left back in March. My family begged me to come here.
Oh,
and yes, my mother said, please get out of New York. Don't stay there, because this was in March like March 22nd. This is like when it was the virus epidemic right there. So I've been down here for 3 months now. I'm staying with my younger sister, her 4 kids, her husband, my mom, and 2 humongous kitty cats.
Wow.
Oh no.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I am in my mom's room on a fold-out bed. Like I usually do court appearances because I happen to be an attorney. I specialize in entertainment law, though. I would love to do more entertainment transactional work. I was a partner in a film company for a lot of years. I'm also an actress, singer, writer, model. So while I've been down here, I also got this hosting gig on an online app called Bigo. And I also started my own podcast at the suggestion of someone else I'd been talking to, like back in November, who's like, you need to have your own podcast. So I have one that I started called The Angry Redheaded Lawyer, and I've been doing a few episodes. So I've been alternating between feeling completely unproductive and then being like, okay, I need to get some stuff going because unemployment is not going to last forever. So man, right now I've just kind of been like, I need to do some networking. I need to talk to people. If people are looking for legal services, entertainment transactional, I've been doing a lot of that kind of work. So if people have got those needs, I am happy to talk to you about it. I do charge for my services because I've been doing this for 12 years, but anybody who's in New York also, I'd love to get your take on how are things going up there? Is it going to be safe when I look at possibly coming back in September? Because I still have most of my things up there too.
Well, one thing you might do, because people are fairly strapped, but you can't afford to do it for free, is if you do start a podcast to say, in a couple of sentences, what is your challenge? Because writers and actors, especially writers and directors, have a lot of trouble often with producers, contracts, and getting kind of screwed over. So there would be a possibility if you said general advice, like if you have like 12 questions from writers that are the same, to say, I will answer this question for the 12 people at once if you log on and give me this amount of money. So you're not having to follow it up in court, but you're giving advice. But because it's split 12 ways, you can lower your fee and then they can afford it. But it's general advice rather than specific advice. Because a lot of us are kind of dodos when it comes to dealing with aggressive producers or production companies, you know, what to watch out for. So that would be one way to, for the strapped population, if you did start a podcast where you could get some money and be of help to the table, but still get paid. If they, to log on, they would, you know, go and, you know, send you a certain amount of money, put it on PayPal. And anybody, and then open it up to those like 12 people or 4 people or 20 people and say, okay, this is the fee. And then you just go into the general legal matters. I'm sure you see things repeated quite a bit, don't you?
Oh, definitely. There are some different issues that do come up a lot of times. Again, you know, some of that happens.
That's great. That's great. Now, in terms of your artistic career, what is it you're looking for?
Let's see. I don't know who's on Bigo right now, but definitely sort of checking out my podcast and checking out my Bigo stream and following my Facebook fan page. Those things are always nice. And checking out my website. People usually compliment my website when they see it.
Cool. So, okay.
And you said you were an actor, model, and so forth. Was there any help you needed in those directions?
Well, right now it's like I have a lot of creative ideas in my head, but that's one of those things if I kind of have to get in the headspace and I have to be able to sit down and do that. And I'm kind of surrounded by chaos at the moment. So that's something I got to do myself.
Okay.
Okay, great.
So anything else you need right now?
Let's see, at this time, probably it would be more general of a, you know, networking, forging those relationships, because eventually things are going to pick up. And
yeah,
you know,
well, we're here every Thursday, so you're always welcome here every Thursday. And this is a group made up of thousands of people, so that can be a very powerful tool.
So normally we have people as yourself from New York and in London and Wales and across the country,
around the world.
You know, we have our, you know, we started in LA and we still have LA people, but a lot of people, there's been a diaspora all over the country and beyond that.
Yes.
And so it's nice to reconnect with people who can't always make it into the Valley. I mean, even us from West Hollywood, it takes an hour to get into the Valley every week. So we've been able to connect up with people that normally can't make it, as well as some of our regulars. So yes, if you're on the table email and you reach out and say, I've got this, I've got that, check it out. it's a good time because so many people are caught at home to start to make connections.
Yes. So great. So anything else, Monica?
Let's see, at this point, yeah, at this point, it's probably it. I've just been like, I was so happy to talk to people that are not like in my family and feeling like I'm still being productive. Although I like seeing them, I usually wouldn't
Yeah.
get to be here at this time.
Yes. No, but that's great. Well, welcome.
Yay.
Cheers. Yay.
Thank you.
So let's see. So
And for our redheaded friends of all, if you have a redheaded friend, might I recommend Tim Minchin's song "Prejudice"? There's several versions on YouTube. Once again, Tim Minchin, "Prejudice."
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Thanks,
Great.
Dave. So okay, great. So Adam, are there any questions for Mr. Sci-Fi yet?
No questions. Shout out to Rose Kirby and Mad Max and Albert Z, who are all watching, along
Great.
with 16 other people.
Terrific.
Total. Yeah.
So why don't we do? I guess on our screen we can do Maui McDonald if you want to take your turn and introduce yourself. Just unmute. There you go.
Yeah. Hi. I'm Maui. And I'm a guest of Gene St. James. And I'm just I'm a production designer. So
Cool. That's great.
I'm right now just working to get my hours, trying to get into the union. That's the big goal. And right now I am working for AFI.
Oh, cool.
And getting steady work there, possibly applying. But that's basically where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Do you have a website?
I have a LinkedIn for Maui McDonald, and I do have an Instagram that shows my stuff too.
Okay.
Okay, it's easier you make it for people to see your work.
Yes.
If it's exciting or has a particular angle of attack, an unusual angle of attack, people are always looking for people with a fresh eye.
Yeah. And is there anything that you particularly specialize or like doing?
No, it's all of it.
Okay. Well, again, as we said earlier, you can sign up for the table email and send out a link to your images or anything that that you might want to share with others, and people will respond. There are always people setting up shoots and doing things, and there's a lot of stuff happening even during the pandemic. There are people making things, so it's worth spreading your net. So
because you can send your work online to like studios, which thanks to David Bartlett, we're able to keep social distancing, and he's got carpenters and people working at a distance with masks and so forth in the studio to build designs, waiting for the COVID rules to come down so we can actually start shooting.
Yes. So anything you need, any questions beyond that?
No, I mean that's basically.
Okay.
Great.
So welcome. So Adam, there's no questions, so that's fine, because I didn't put out the word that we were doing a live stream, and so that's okay. So I guess Christina Leonard, if you want to jump in and go for it.
Guys, I'm Christina Leonard. I'm an actress and a comedian, and I've been a member of the table for a few years. This is my first Zoom table.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to be here. It's nice to see some friendly faces, some familiar faces. And so, of course, what I'm working on right now is I had a pilot that I was just finishing up the drafts, and I really felt good about it, and I was ready to shoot it, and I had a place which maybe I can still shoot it there, and then this happened. So I'm kind of looking. There's one character, if anybody knows any talented trans actresses, there's one character that I have a few people I'm looking at, but I would like it's a really main character, and I'll put that out in the table emails as well. But since we're all here together, I'll put my email in the chat as well if you guys know of anybody that you would recommend.
Well, one of our table members is an agent for trans actors, so she represents all the transgender actors and actresses working in Hollywood. So
started small. And they just drew. Yeah. It was very, very good, solid person.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I think David Bartlett.
David, do you have her contact information? Okay, yeah. David Bartlett has
David
contact.
Bartlett can
Yeah, he can.
That's really cool. See, it works. you see how happy I am right now? Because it's just, you know, so already I feel really great about that. So I guess, David, I'll email you, or we'll connect. Cool.
Great.
And then as well, you know, since I plan to get into production for this once it's time, anybody that has any experience on that, and what I can offer, I'm an actress, so, you know, I'm SAG, so it would have to be SAG, but if you can do a new media thing, I'll do it, you know, deferred or whatever, if it's a table thing. And if anybody is doing like a crowdfunding, I had a successful crowdfunding thing, so I have a little bit of insight there. And I do stand up, so if you guys, live venues aren't really happening, but in the future, if you need somebody to like host your event or whatnot, I can do that for you. So anyway, thanks guys.
Good luck with your shoot. We had some pretty good luck with ours, just using green screen, putting people together who were a country apart.
There's a lot that you can do. Yeah. And for anyone who's interested in what one can do during the pandemic, we just shot a 2-hour episode of Space Command entirely during the pandemic. And we were shooting with actors in Saskatchewan, in Portugal, in New York, in Atlanta, here in West Hollywood.
Using their equipment. I mean,
yeah, they were shooting their scenes with their own cameras, and we were
home?
using all sorts of tricks. Dave Edison was sort of the Svengali behind all of that as our editor. But great, so terrific. But yeah, and they can, if you want to watch that 2-hour episode of Space Command, it's on my Mr. Sci-Fi YouTube channel. So there you go. Yay. But thanks, Christina. Yay.
Okay,
so,
Mr. Bartlett.
Well, wait, hang on. Adam, are there any questions for Mr. Sci-Fi yet?
I'm trying to determine whether this is an appropriate question, but it's there's I think it's more of an opinion rather than a question. Let's phrase it this way.
Okay.
How do you feel about the representation of evolution in science fiction, and do you and would you present a different version of it? He's basically saying that the version of evolution is shown as to be fictional. And
well, again, I mean, we all have our different opinions. I always try and stick with what I know is the current scientific knowledge. So I wouldn't be doing anything that would be saying evolution isn't real, but certainly the development of AI and so forth, that's all very interesting as we go from
I think it's I think it's to clarify, I think it's more of not whether evolution is real or not, but that evolution is adaptation to the environment as opposed to forward progression towards an ideal state.
I don't think it's toward an ideal state. I think it's just, adapting to the environmental yin and yang, flow of everything. So it's not, I don't think humanity is the most evolved of all the animals on the earth necessarily. And I think it's, it's more like
I don't know about you, but
you're doing just fine. Yeah, exactly.
Greater and greater perfection.
Well, that's nice. I'm glad. Well, I'm not going to disagree with that, certainly. But okay. So yeah, that's sort of our answer. So who are you going to do next? Were you picking a lane? Which David? David Bartlett?
Yes,
oh, David Bartlett. Okay, go for it, David.
So many Davids to choose from.
There are too many.
So a little time. Hi, everyone. This is David Bartlett. I am a filmmaker, a teacher, a human rights activist, and a co-producer of Space Command.
Yay!
Also producing the visual effects. I'm helping build a studio. I am in charge of the dogs when I visit Mark and Elaine's, or they're in charge of me. It's more like it. Those of you just seen the COVID episode we did, they are all over me in that, literally.
Mm-hmm. It was fun.
It was a good time. So my background is I made my first film when I was 10 years old, and I wanted to make films since then. I saw the Battleship Potemkin and Lon Chaney's Phantom of the Opera on TV, and I was like, okay, I'm making movies. I didn't even know what that really meant. That at that time, I was a few years ago, it was not a thing, like it is now. So I basically packed up and moved to LA in 1980 and started working pretty much right away, doing low budget films with people like production designer Jim Cameron. That was very exciting. On see if I have the films here. I don't have very many of the films I've worked on, but I did pick these up. This is the film James Cameron was the production designer on that I built sets with him with. Called Galaxy of Terror, and it's quite the opus. And then here's another one I did, and then this one here, and it features Klaus Kinski. So I had some fun at New World doing that. And then I started working on some really big movies doing sound design. I worked on Pulp Fiction and Speed and Total Recall and Predator 2. And then I started doing more independent films of my own, and now I have 64 film festival awards. So I've kind of done a gamut. I've done every job on the film set at least once, except for hairstyling, as you can see. So, don't let me cut your hair. But other than that, I'm good. And almost all the post jobs. Now I've even done some visual effects. And among other things, I'm also the visual effects producer on Space Command as well. So I like teaching people. So what happens sometimes is when they come and work with me, I end up teaching them things they don't know. I like working with people that want to move up in their professions or move into a new profession. Sometimes too, that's enjoyable for me. And now with this new studio that we're building and with the COVID rules in place with masks and whatnot, we're able to actually do construction on some sets and finish the studio so we can film with it very shortly. So if anyone's interested in volunteering to come and do that, we'll be doing that next week. And also I have a few paid positions around the edges too, especially for skilled carpenters and set decorators. Right. We're going to be building a lot of flats. If you don't know what flats are, I can teach you. And if you do, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's a little bit of effort, but we're going to do that very shortly. And some spaceship sets and a medical bay. And we're also working on finishing the alien spaceship interior sets, which are supposed to look organic and live and breathe and things like that. So that's challenging to do. In general, it's challenging, but on a budget, it's especially challenging. So we're coming up with interesting new ways to do that too. And we're making some real headway. So if you're all interested, you can send me a note right now, or you can email me at davefilms@hotmail.com, and I can put you on the list and get you going.
Great.
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay.
Right.
Cool. Yay. 3 cheers. So
we've got a question.
Great.
We've actually got a question from one of our own table members, from Lydia Torres, who asks, Mark, what inspired you to begin your own Space Command, and how far do you want to go with this?
Well, it was just my general megalomaniacal tendencies. The real answer is that after many, many years of working in the studio and network system very successfully, I loved the idea of seeing if I could raise money from my audience and open my own studio. It was because then I wouldn't be at the whim of the executives. And so far that's worked out very, very well. My ultimate goal is to bring the VOD platforms into the equation so that we can basically be doing movies and TV shows that are basically a triumvirate between us as the creators and the audience and the VOD platforms to distribute and promote. We'll see where it leads, but right now things are going very, very well, and that's where we are. But it was just basically the notion of being able to do things exactly the way we want to do them, and cut out all of the waste of time and money that the networks and the studios are so emblematic of. So that's that answer. So there you go. So Dave, what were you saying?
I mean, generally, as writers, initially we didn't want to take on the extra work, but if what happens to your work happens to a lot of people's work, you end up, because you're in love with your own story.
Yes.
You end up taking on more and more responsibility. Sometimes you get working with wonderful people, but sometimes your work ends up not representing you at all, and that's when you start thinking about doing scarier things and hyphenating. So
yes,
that's what happened to us.
Yes, exactly. So I guess it's your turn, Dave. Go for it.
Go, Dave.
Yay, Dave Edison.
Hey.
Man among men.
What?
No, he's saying no.
No.
We'll come back later.
We'll come back later.
Okay, Susan Flakes, how about you?
Your cell phone might be out of reach. It's why we created automatic.
Yeah, I have got some bad news. here on my birthday. This is my birthday today. And bad news, which I hope will turn into good news. I'm the eternal optimist.
Good.
What happened is I lost the producer that I was producing with. He had so many projects, he just couldn't be focused on ours. And and he's more a horror movie kind of a guy.
Yes.
So my biopic about the great Harriet Jacobs, the enslaved person who became an activist who worked with Frederick Douglass. I now am looking for a producer, a really strong one who believes in this story. I think we have a good script. It's award winning. It's good. I just need another producer.
How did you go about finding this one?
Twitter, of all places. I tweeted some of the awards that I had just won about this screenplay. He emailed me back and said he knew all about Harriet Jacobs because he taught that when he was a professor at the University of Kentucky. And then he read the script. He says, I love it. Let's work together.
I see.
He had a great idea. He's the one who introduced the idea about Frederick Douglass. And I fell in love with Frederick Douglass, and I have great scenes with her and him. And I know they worked in the same building in Rochester, so I know they knew each other. So I invented these scenes with them, and I had so much fun writing those scenes. I'm hoping to get Bondi Curtis Hill to play Frederick Douglass.
How fun. Yeah, so.
Have you contacted the Producers Guild?
No, that's an idea, isn't it?
Yes.
How is it special? What's the number, or where do I get their number?
The Producers Guild of America is here in Los Angeles. Just Google it, you'll find them.
They're online.
Oh, good. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's one. And if there are any production companies that handle this kind of topic, I mean, they good, but they have to know how to sell it. They have to have a sense of the demographic.
Yes.
And I've known like some films where two good producers, one thought it wasn't sellable and the other person got it sold worldwide.
Yes.
Just because they had a connection to the correct demographic. So
that's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. So start to make lists of any films that you felt were done appropriately for your taste.
Yes.
And then say, in terms of theme, and in terms of being able to handle historical, what production companies seem to be receptive to that, especially the smaller ones who are willing to take a chance, and go after them. Be really specific, because the subject matter at this point in time is, I think there are more openings for that.
Yes.
So I
have a good pitch deck now too. They would be able to see that and really know. It's very clear what the story is. Great graphics, great photos. You know, it's a powerful pitch deck, and that might help me connect with a producer if they can get into that.
Yes. I mean, one thing I find that is often when people fall away from my team, someone better shows up. I mean, there's always these
Thank you.
Yeah, nothing is the end all and the be all until it's finished and out to the world. You know, everything else is just motion of particles. Really.
I would see a production as a spinning ball, spinning, and there are pieces flying off into space as fast as it spins, and your job is to keep grabbing other pieces to replace the pieces that are flying off into space. No matter how solid you are, that seems to happen. And yes, I find on a pretty consistent basis you get better pieces.
Yes.
Thank you. Great image.
Yeah, it's all going to work out. So great. So anything else, Susan?
That's it. That's the main thing I'm focused on.
Okay, well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, Adam, anything from the Mr. Sci-Fi world?
Yes, we've got a bunch of questions now.
Great.
Really good ones, too. This next one is from Mac Raven, who asks, since a lot of writers have been home due to COVID, do you expect some exceptional scripts to come out in the future?
No, not at all. I never expect exceptional scripts to come out. I always assume that people are just, going down the rabbit hole, but also more than that. I mean, my goal and my objective is just to make sure that what I'm doing makes sense. And Elaine and I, bounce ideas off each other or scenes off each other, just to make sure that we are on track by our own lights.
I think it really is a matter of attitude toward the work.
Yes.
And depicting your own truth.
Yes.
And either you do it or you don't. And and if you're dedicated to speaking your own truth, that's one thing. And if you're not, I don't think it's going to make a difference if you're locked in your house.
Right.
It's how much you dig. And the same is true with all of the arts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So so continuing on. So let's see. Thane, yeah, go for it, Thane.
Here we are. Well, yesterday was my birthday.
Happy
congratulations.
Yes.
For those keeping track, if you take the square root of my birthday, you get the last digit of the year I was born.
Wow.
And at any rate, and for the redheads, you have to read Still Life with Woodpecker by Tom Robbins, who explains the origins of redheads. Given that red cars, red wine, and redheads are my vices, I do a lot of research in that area. Mm-hmm. So at any rate, I'm an actor, and thanks to Lori, I'm a writer, assuming she doesn't drop me out of the queue for failing to follow instructions. And variety of things going on. A group of us have started a new meetup group, since we can't do it in person, that we've been having an open dialogue on Tuesday night for creatives. And this Saturday, we're going to have our first talent show on Zoom. And Akira is one of the featured talents, and he's going to be showing some video that his music has been attached to. So that's kind of excited, being the host there. We'll have 3 people from the industry to critique and talk about the work that's being presented.
Neat.
I'm continuing working on my solo show, which is beginning to has gone from a 43-minute monologue to a 65-minute show with 28 characters and 28 different voices, all of which I do. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking forward to doing a Zoom staged reading here in August when I get my final latest draft. It's never final, but the latest draft pulled together, working with Jessica Lynn Johnson. Her daily sessions have migrated to weekly sessions as things have opened up. And then she's still offering twice a month a free class where you can join in and learn about writing and putting together a solo show. I auditioned today for something I can't talk about, but a 7-page non-disclosure agreement. So I don't even know if I violated that already by saying I auditioned. But at any rate, so it's a process of staying busy, staying creative, and trying to stay sane. And although I've never been guilty of staying sane, so at any rate.
That's good. But congratulations on the activity and the birthday.
Yeah. Do you need anything besides happy birthday?
Happy birthday. Well, I was looking forward to the cake and the singing and dancing at the established restaurant establishment we frequent, but that's not to be this year. And so if the force is with me, next year will be another year.
Great. 3 cheers. Yay.
And so, put your answer to my riddle in the comments.
Yeah. Great. Terrific. We will.
The square root of the year the square root of my age gives you the last digit of the year I was born, or conversely, the last digit squared gives you my age. So
Wow.
it's
Wow.
easy.
Wow, cool. Thanks. So Adam, do we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Cool. Yes, we have the return of Mark Lungo, who is a longtime supporter and frequent commenter. His question is for both of you and Elaine. Do you think either of you could do a competent job writing for a genre that doesn't personally interest you?
The real answer to that is you find a story within any given genre that does interest you. So for instance, when I was a producer on Lazarus Man, which was a Western that Elaine and I wrote for, you just find relationships and characters and settings and dramatic situations that are of interest, that have a freshness to you, or some comment metaphorically on your own life and what you stand for. So it's...
Which Lazarus Man allowed?
Yeah.
It depends a lot less on the genre than the person running the show.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of latitude, because in the end, it's all human stories and human relationships, clothed in different, in different genres. But I don't have any specific genre I'm not interested in. I mean, horror less so, but I've still seen some excellent horror pieces.
Right.
Yeah, as long as we're allowed to tell a human story, but every now and then you find someone who is not into that. They just want the action, or they just want simple, they don't understand the drama of a conversation. They want you to people to hit each other.
Right.
And there you're in trouble, and it doesn't matter what the genre is. You're just in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to find the way to make it all work for you.
Yeah.
That's the trick, So great. Okay, cool. So let's see. I guess Carol Field, I guess you're next.
Hello, Carol.
Hi, I knew you were going to call on me next. I'm so psychic. I don't know what. Seeing you is such a necessary break in my week. I cannot tell you. So thank you. Muchas gracias.
Of course.
Now I'm going to use you as a theatrical psychologist.
Okay.
I do know what it means, but I don't know it.
Okay.
So you're in a play. Someone comes backstage to congratulate your performance. Says, I'd love you to be in my movie. It's very exciting. Oh, and you also write. Let me see what you're doing. Let me collaborate with this, because I have a production company. And then he just wants to take over.
Right.
Very, very disillusioning.
Yes.
A lot of power on his end. He knows people. He's a production company, but really wants to take over. And take over to the point that it is what I'm creating is no longer my voice.
Right.
I was disingenuous saying, here, I wrote this. He has a point. He was also a script actor. He's very bright, very talented. So he's hypnotizing me a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going, I can't follow you anywhere, but I can't.
Right.
I said a couple times, would you like a lawyer to write up what our connection is? And he went, no, I'm good. Thank God. Thank God.
Well, you're not, though. You're not good.
Right. Well, I'm kind of good, better than he is at this point in a way, because I can drop him without any strings. But I would just love your feedback, because, and so
yes,
he hasn't called me at this point in almost a week. Flakeville, I don't know what's going on. I know he's busy, but give me a break. He's not shooting right now, or his movie's on hold. And I just want I think I kind of know how, but I would love your opinion of how to let him down lightly. I want to say, I can't work like this. He doesn't return my calls on time. Then the secretary said, Carol, Chris is going to call you tonight at midnight. I mean, I can't work like this.
Okay. The real answer is you don't try to let them down lightly. You just be direct about what you want. You basically are super clear on what your bottom line is. There are very, very, very dysfunctional people who want to work. It's all about power. And they want to have you jumping through their hoops to no good purpose other than just putting you in chaos so they're in control. And it's sort of like from the get-go, the moment you give up power, you give up power. And so you have to be super clear as to what exactly you want. It's all, as I said before, what you'll get will be defined by 2 points on a spectrum, what you stand for and what you won't stand for, and so that's just super clarity.
I usually think it's best to be, it sounds like it's a no-go. Yeah. But generally, I always start with, I was very excited about joining up with you because these are the things that you do wonderfully. These are the things that I really love, and you're quite hypnotic. This is where I'm running into trouble. And it's this and this and this specifically, because I can't, unfortunately, I cannot, much as I'd love to, I cannot work where my voice seems to be drowned out. And for me, because I am generally going at a dead run, I'm sure you are too, I need to be able to have reliable communication. And so I always start with the positive, and then I try and say the negative in as dispassionate a way as I possibly can, and as though it was nothing personal. I never take anything personally.
Yes. He really goes before, stands in front of him. It's just insane.
Right. So just, but the thing is, yes, it sounds like it's kind of getting to be a miserable situation.
Yes.
It's a shame, but
yes,
I would start out by sending him a note saying, praise, 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 fact, fact, fact. If any of these things, love to sit down and see what we can negotiate. If any of these are deal breakers for you, I am so, so sorry, and I wish you luck. Have a nice life. Goodbye.
Yes. Yes. I mean, again, often what enslaves us is projecting toward the happy ending, and as a result, we're in that imaginary future point rather than in the present, taking action in the present. We can only be responsible for the actions we take, but the more we're clear with others and the more we maintain power, the greater likelihood we'll get what we want. So it's sort of that equation.
I don't try and push anybody.
No.
If I'm working, like I was working with a fight choreographer.
Yes.
And the fight choreographer had some of his own ideas.
Yes.
And if his ideas were better than mine, he got his way.
Yes.
If his ideas were equal to mine, he got his way.
Mm-hmm.
Only when
they were worse,
they were not as good as mine, did I have a conversation.
Yes.
And sometimes we'd compromise, but I didn't. If it was equal, and that's his job, he got it. Because one of the important things is to keep people engaged in their passion. And but that was just like with conversations. But if it was somebody who was trying to be pushy and take over something at the cost of the drama, then I would have a conversation and say, I loved what you did, but I can't do this because the drama is being hurt.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if you can live with those adjustments, or if not, I don't want you to be unhappy. Let's just shake hands and go our separate ways. I never try. I'm always very supportive and positive. I don't ever need to push anyone around.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really clever what you said. The projection is the happy ending, and that keeps you frozen because you.
It does.
Yeah.
Because we always think, oh, everything's going to go swimmingly, and it paralyzes us because we're thinking, oh my God, I'm giving up this rosy future. But in reality, you're not. It doesn't exist, and you can make it that rosy future, but it's not. Often we're letting go of something that's totally a phantom. So one has to be cognizant of that.
Because one thing always to remember is that the thing that kills you isn't the no. The thing that kills you is the almost.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It could have been a really good thing. It's really sad because he's really clever and very trained. And
be direct, because it's like, if you're direct, things might work out well.
The only time that things kind of go yucky is if you're not being direct and you start personalizing it.
Okay.
If it's just open and direct, then they don't tend to be, in a positive way and say, I'd love to work with you, but here's this. And if it's not like you're trying to push me around, you're doing this, you're doing that. If you keep it in I statements,
yes,
I love what you're doing. The only thing that isn't an I statement is how much you like what they're doing, but even that's an I statement. Then you say, as for me, this is what I need, and never, you never get petty and point.
Yeah, you never say the problem with you is.
Yes. And the thing is, if you maintain your power, things go kind of swimmingly. You're not being pushy. You're just saying, this is what I need. This is what I'm losing. That's not comfortable for you. you have no idea how sorry I am to say it's not a match, but it's not a match.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, and then I'll shut up. My inner Detroit wants to lambaste him.
No.
I won't. I never will.
No,
don't focus on winning the battlefield. Focus on winning the war. Okay? In other words, making someone else wrong gives you a good feeling in the moment. Telling them what you think of them, you know, and dressing them down makes you feel good in the moment, but it rarely brings about winning the war. Okay?
The way you win the war is it doesn't
them.
matter what anybody else is doing.
Right.
You stay the adult in the room.
Yeah.
You stay the calm, centered, friendly, warm adult.
Yes.
And you know, I've been tired every time I've been wanting to say, you're awful, you're terrible, you're awful, you're terrible. Then I do not call them at that moment because I know I'm tired and stressed out and my child is in my head and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I wait until I'm feeling calm and centered if it's going to be a confrontation, and I unload it. I unloaded emotionally. I unloaded about it being somebody pushing me, and I just say, well, I'm not going to be pushed. I'm just going to say, this is what I love about them. This is what I need. This is where I can compromise. Let's talk about it. I don't want to compromise. I understand. I am so sorry, you know, that it's not going to work. It would have been great.
Yep.
Just, you know, but never, you lose as soon as you anger.
Yes.
I know. Thank you both very much.
Of course. Yay. So, Adam, are there any Mr. Sci-Fi questions?
Yes, but first I want to mention that one of our Mr. Sci-Fi fans have answered Thane's riddle.
Aha!
I believe this is correct. Thane, this is Todd Chamberlain.
Oh, hi, Todd, from Canada.
Who says if he's correct, then Thane was born in 1939 and thus is 81 years old.
Wow.
Times 9 is 81.
That's great. Congratulations. Yay.
Okay.
Yeah, and we got the thumbs up from Thane, so that is correct. Way to go,
for that,
Todd Chamberlain.
Yes, for that, Todd, you win the life-size, anatomically correct Thane Allison inflatable love doll.
And so moving on to our next question from Gregory Krug.
It's in the mail.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
It's in the mail.
Exactly.
Gregory asks, knowing that you were personal friends with Ray Bradbury, was there any writing advice that he gave you that you could share?
Yes. He said a number of things. My God, I went over his house once a month for over 10 years. He was a dear friend and a wonderful mentor. He said, don't look outside, look within. And it's basically find the things you care about strongly, the things that anger you, the things you love, right from your own passions, right from your own experience and point of view. Your job ultimately is to become the writer that only you can be and to tell the stories that only you can tell. And so you're not erasing yourself. You're not trying to be anybody else. Because for a good part of his early years, he was trying to imitate other writers. And then he realized that wasn't the way he was going to get where he wanted to go. And so so he said that. He also had a sign over his typewriter that I now have on my computer, which says, don't think, do. And I believe that very strongly too. So, and then also, of course, he had a regular writing schedule. And I think that's very important to have regular hours that you work and just be devoted to the discipline of it. You know, it's a friend, not an enemy. So so there you go.
Yeah.
So now, Dave Edison, we haven't had you yet. Are you ready now? Have you digested your food properly?
No, I was texting with one of our team.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Cool.
That thing we discussed earlier.
Yes.
Anyway, hi everyone. Dave Edison here, editor of Space Command, and we finished Ripple Effect in time. Got it to the hungry masses, and gotten some very nice feedback on it.
Yes.
I've been helping with the little bit of trimming on the interviews that Mark's doing with his team on Space Command, including the interview that he did with me, which I tightened up a little bit and threw in a lot of background videos so people could see here and there how we put this project together. And so watch that or the other ones from the other members of the team, the cast and crew. And other than that, I'll once again mention my picture book, The Man with the List. That's me dropping a keyboard. The Man with the List, a picture book for grown-ups who can't believe in the unbelievable, which is available on YouTube if you'd like to hear it. Just punch in Man with List picture and it'll come up, or even just Man List picture. Other than that, I see Shy Pilgrim is on there. I've been working on the season. I just during my time down, I took a little bit of time off after a Ripple Effect. I started working on her new season of her show South of Sanity, and I got a little bit into it. Didn't make a much headway as I wanted to, but I'll keep going on weekends if I have any time on weekends. And it's she did a quarantine episode, and it's coming out pretty good so far.
Great.
So other than that, I don't know what else can I tell you. Nothing. It's again, it's a non-disclosure. So all the best. Stay safe, and I will see you again.
Yay! 3 cheers. Good job. So I guess who's next?
Okay.
Oh, Akira needs to leave, so maybe
go
you want
for
to
it.
do
Yeah,
the
you
next?
bet. Sure,
Yeah.
you bet.
Just
You bet.
okay. I'm a film composer and originally from Tokyo, Japan, and I'm living in North Hollywood, Toluca Lake, and doing film composing and guitar instructor, and also language instructor, and yeah, mainly I'm working on horror film now, and working on some short film and or some other feature film too. And recently, I work with the Koshak here. Koshak, stay here, Koshak. Oh, how are you? And David Portrait, we did, some collaboration. And I worked with Christian, and as a volunteer last year, for the, Miles. He's doing the horror film festival. We worked together for that film festival as a volunteer staff. That's about for me. And before I'm leaving, and I'm a guitarist, I can sing "Happy Birthday to You" for the TNN. And maybe everybody's, mic on. Everybody's making together. How about that?
Sure.
Everybody's mic on. Are you ready?
Okay. There's a bit of a lag, so I wouldn't have everybody.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, dear Dee. Yay, clap, clap, clap. Happy birthday to Dee.
Great.
Okay, that is so far for me too. So have a good evening, everybody.
Great, thank you. Yay. Okay, so I guess Koshik, you're up.
Yeah. Unless we want to do another Mr. Sci-Fi question.
Oh yeah, you want to do another Mr. Sci-Fi? Sure, go for it.
Yeah, real quick. Sorry,
No,
Koshik.
fine.
We've got a question from Scott Baker, who says,
great.
both Star Trek Next Generation and Enterprise dealt with the issue of consent, especially so do you plan to address the issue of power imbalance consent in Space Command?
Yes, it's not so much consent as this is a theme that I've addressed in many things over my career, which is basically who we consider invisible so you can do anything to them, basically the underclass. And whether that's slavery in the 19th century, whether that's synthetic humans in the 21st or 22nd century, it's basically, or the homeless now, it's basically, or Black Lives Matter, any of that, it's basically the people that whoever's in power feels they can do anything to them because they don't quote unquote count. And that's always been of great interest to me because I feel very strongly that people should all be treated with equal respect. So yes, that is an issue that's very much in evidence in Space Command and a number of other things I've written. So yeah, absolutely. So I guess we'll do Koshik and then I guess Julia. Yeah, go for it.
Hey everyone, my name is Kaushik. I'm a comedy writer and a comedy actor. and I'm getting into direction now.
Great.
So I was in a filmmaking class at LSCC earlier this year, and we had to make 3 short films. I made 1, and everything got shut down. So the class went to online, but I decided to drop off because it was just too difficult to make films at that time, unless you make something at home, which I didn't want to do, because my plan is to have like good production and then use those short films to send to film festivals. Anyway, I'm hoping to get back to the class in the fall.
Great.
But again, things are not looking that great right now, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Well, you see, you have to stay out of those bars.
What is that?
You have to stay out of the bars. You know, that's the COVID problem.
The COVID problem, geez, Elaine. Yeah.
Right. Stay out of the bar, right? Yeah.
Yeah, really. Okay.
And during the lockdown period, I wrote a coronavirus sci-fi comedy feature script, and I wrote right now I'm writing a stage play on the similar topic. I just want to say one thing. So yesterday I attended a Zoom meeting by a studio executive, and somebody asked that, what do you feel about coronavirus themed scripts? He said, I've already read 4, 2 drama and 2 comedy, and don't do it.
Yes.
He gave very straight answers. I don't know what exactly he meant, but he said, if you have other things to write, please write other things.
Yes.
Don't write about coronavirus.
No, absolutely. I agree with that.
What do you think about, I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Yes, because everyone's going to be writing that stuff thinking that it's going to be current, whereas by the time it gets made, it'll be old news, you know. It's, I mean, I think there's always going to be exceptions to that if it's a really good story. But yeah, if you have a choice, do anything else. Absolutely.
Also, it's a hot button topic.
Yeah.
And it would be easy to be insensitive to people who have just lost loved ones. And because it's a hot button topic and a very political topic,
yes,
I think it can be done, but it's just, you know, you're looking at sensibilities. It's like sometimes it's too close to the time, or it's in the middle of the time, and it's not a time that people can be reflective about it or think about it.
Yes.
And so I think it's just very, very highly charged in terms of what you do when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah. So that's, so do something else. So anything else? Anything else you need?
That's it for now. That's all.
Yay. So
unless you do a parable.
A parable, don't Jesus, like,
Yeah.
Really a parable? What do you mean?
Well, if there's a parable, if the kinds of issues that are happening for now, human issues, you see at another time in another place, then it's not as charged, you know. So
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. So another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we have a question from Willem Sowers, another one of our frequent commenters.
Great.
Who asks, will Space Command be produced once a year like James Cawley did with Star Trek New Voyages Phase 2?
No, our goal is to actually shoot the entire first season as quickly as possible. And as we're ramping up more and more into production, our pace is picking up. So when you see that the first hour took, we shot it in 2014 and we finished it, I guess, you know, this year or last year, I guess 2019. So that took like how many, 2014 to 2019, it's about 5 years to finish it. Now we're going to have the second hour finished, which we shot at the same time, finished in the next few months. And then the third hour won't take that long to finish after that. And we're about to shoot the fourth hour. And Ripple Effect, we did from initial concept to finished 2-hour episode in 2 months during the pandemic. So no, our goal is to really pick up the pace considerably. And as we're building more and more of our sets and more of our assets, I think that'll become significantly easier to do. So so that's the answer. But ultimately, as David Bartlett has often advocated for, we'd like to be an active production on numerous series and features simultaneously to really have our studio functioning as as a gigantic content factory.
Monolithic.
Yeah, that's because David Bartlett has been very, very always banging the drum for that.
Yeah, but
because he's just, you know, not busy enough. He always says that's his motto: "I'm not busy enough, boss. Give me more, chief." Yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, because you know he doesn't really need to be studying hypnotism and you know ventriloquism like he's doing. He's got too much time on his hands. So you know, but that's
sleeping is for wimps.
yeah, and buying those X-ray glasses and the see behind you glasses and all those things you get from the Johnson Smith catalog. It's, you know, this is a guy with far too much time on his hands. So yeah, so continuing on, how about you, Julia?
Hi guys, I'm Julia Kavanaugh. This is my first time here. I'm Christina's friend.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Mark and Elaine. It's really cool to be here. This group of people is just really talented and amazing, and I'm really inspired that as artists, you created this space for artists to say, I need this and I can offer this. It just, yes. I love seeing artists helping artists, so thank you. I am primarily an actor, and although over the last couple of years, I've stepped more into writing and producing, but I've been working on a show about the potato famine, and Susan was talking about one of her characters, Harriet Jacobs. We have Frederick Douglass in our show as well. And so I think it's just cool how similar characters in history are coming into the forefront of shows right now, which is really exciting. So I'm looking to come back home to acting. I'm SAG, and I got tired of depending on casting directors and auditions to cast me in content. So I started doing my own stuff, but it's what I really love. So I'm rededicating myself to acting, and I'm here just to network and see and meet other people who are in this industry too. I'd love to get any leads on agents or managers.
Well, the thing I would say about that, Julia, is remember many people are stuck at home or working less than they would be. So now is the time. So what I would strongly urge you to do is get specific as to who you want, and then see who's on social media, who has a way, you know, I mean, because a lot of these people can reach via LinkedIn, via other ways. And then the trick is saying, okay, how can I figure out a way to get on their radar that isn't identical to what everyone else is saying? Because obviously every actor in the world wants an effective agent, but
Amen.
Right. And so it becomes a whole strategy of what actually work. And it was interesting, there was one actress who I ran into, and she was looking to trade up in terms of an agent. And I said, well, what have you been doing lately? And she said, well, you know, I've been earning, you know, six figures from so forth. And I want to ramp up to, like, you know, from 6 figures to 7 figures a year. And I said, well, that's what I advised her to say. She wasn't going to say that. She was going to say, I'm an actor and I'm talented and I'd like a good agent. I said, no. Say that you're earning consistently over the last several years. You've been earning 6 figures and you want an agent who will help you ramp up to 7, because that's a persuasive argument for an agent.
Ooh, I love that. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
The trick is always to not be saying what everyone else is saying, because if you do, you're invisible and they'll just blow you off. And so it's
great.
Yeah. And
no, I love that. Thank you.
Right. And the other issue is always, if you think of yourself as building teams and sort of like, well, who do you want on your team? And remember that whenever you're building a team, whether as a producer or a writer or director or an actor, someone on your team, it can be you, it can be anybody else, somebody else, but you need one of these minimally. Someone on the team has to be a closer. Okay. It's when I raise money, I'm a closer. I know how to. It's just a second nature to me.
Second nature to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas yesterday we had a lovely conversation with the head of Cachette, which is a huge TV distribution company, and he's a salesman, and he sells, and his goal is to make money, and he sells TV series. And that guy knew exactly who he was. He knew exactly what he was there to do, and he was extremely effective at doing it. And basically, it was a call for him to advise us, because I'm not that guy, but that guy is definitely someone I can learn from. And so again, but the way we got on his radar was that we met his little boy, his 9-year-old son, who wants to be an actor, and he's very talented, and we cast him in Space Command, and that broke the ice, where this guy's now happy to advise us. And it wasn't cold-blooded. We didn't cast his son for that reason. His son's incredibly cute. His son,
so cute.
Yeah, he's incredibly cute. And but again, so you always look for how to navigate and what will get us where we want to go. And so it's basically
a lot of it is where we often fall down is the research.
Yeah.
Like we don't look at, okay, who do they represent? Is it people? Do they represent people who are getting the kind of product that you would like to be in, or are they in the kind of product you would not like to be in? And sometimes managers can be more receptive than agents, because agents are often a part of an agency. They need a whole bunch of money, and managers can be more in the business of developing and then getting you an agent. But I find it's very interesting to research on the net, because if when I was checking out agents and managers, I said, oh, this person has a background in indie film, these kinds of indie films that I love, so we may be a match. And so looking in their background and seeing what the connective tissue is, that's all very helpful. The one thing you don't want to bother to do is scattershot.
No.
Because then you may end up with a representative who keeps putting you in like female roles, as in Dreadful.
Well, but well, also because if you sort of spread your net so wide that you catch someone you don't want, that can waste time, and you don't have time to spare. If someone is an agent for a year or two and they're terrible and they don't succeed in booking you or opening doors for you, you've just wasted 2 years you won't get back. So that's why it's important to look for. I mean, what I do is I often seek out people I want to be mentors, want to be my mentors. And then I end up collaborating with them. So that's why I wrote the book with Guillermo del Toro and so forth.
Well,
so
we had an interview with an agent that we didn't have a chance to research. We were just in there.
Yes.
And so the first thing I said was, well, because we're writers, I said, well, tell me what are your favorite films? And he looked at me for a minute. And he said, no one has ever asked me that before. And I went, really?
Yes.
I was
wow.
Surprised, that nobody asked him. And so how do we know if it's not that they're bad or good, it's are we a match, and so it was just very interesting that people were there to just like, I need an agent, rather than saying it's going to be a match.
Yes.
Are we a match? Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you guys so much. I have to run, but it's such a treat to be here. I hope to be here next week, and I will be emailing David to get on the list.
Terrific.
Oh, okay.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
And you can catch that young actor at the beginning of Ripple Effect. As well as his dog, who is very cooperative. and if you look carefully in Ripple Effect, you'll also find Frederick Douglass.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true. So
whoa, it's so cool. I love it. Thank you guys.
Okay, great. And so, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, perhaps?
Let's see. Yeah, there's a question from Scott Baker talking about Deep Space Nine and Babylon 5 having strong themes of faith and philosophy.
Right.
Babylon 5 being a veritable UN of faiths.
Yes.
So how will Space Command explore faith and philosophy?
Well, I mean,
how does it?
It does. I mean, but in a very
individualistic.
Well, I was going to say casual. I mean, in other words, Yusuf Sikander, Bob Picardo's character, is Muslim, but we don't hit people over the head with it. It's just like he's a Muslim working as a mining foreman, and he has a son. He lost his wife in a tragic accident. It's like his spirituality is an aspect of his character, but it's not the defining aspect of his character. So
the funny thing is, like, they never mention the word Muslim once. In the show. It's just a picture. He's depicted praying on a prayer mat, which is a practice of Muslims, and that's it.
And
but
part of it was,
very,
and when he prays, he turns toward Earth, because that's where Mecca is, because he's in the asteroid belt, which I thought was a very fun science fiction idea.
So basically, some people will be religious, some people will not be religious, but the whole idea of Space Command is that whatever people believe, they're not depicted as other.
Right.
They're just part of the human fabric, and that's interesting.
Yeah.
Differences are interesting and necessary, or else we'd all be dentists, right?
Yes.
We'd all be one thing if we were all alike. We have a world of dentists, so it's a good thing.
It's cool. Great, thanks. So I guess Mark Gushowitz, you're up.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Mark. I am an editor slash filmmaker slash a whole bunch of other things. And nothing really new this week. It's all kind of been the same as the last 4 or 5 weeks that I've spoken. Moving forward on graphics on my short film, which is happening kind of slow because when you ask somebody to give you a deal, you work around their other projects, which I'm fine with. And just, continuously working, nothing really special. Editing the second episode of our podcast. The first episode with Mark as the person being interviewed is up, getting downloaded by many people.
Great.
And yeah, that's kind of it. I'm just kind of in repeat this week.
Do you need anything?
I need sleep, but I don't think you guys can give me that unless somebody wants to come over here and knock me out. No, everything's good. I mean, everything's moving forward. It's just the same as last week and the week before. But it is, as long as it continues moving forward, I'm happy. Even if it's moving forward slow, as long as it's moving forward.
Okay, good.
So that's it. Nothing special this week.
Okay. Yay. So Adam, another Mr. Sci-Fi question, perchance.
We're caught up for now.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. So continuing on, Lisa, you're up.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Away a little bit. Happy anniversary. Hope that was
Thank you.
for you guys. So I went away to the Adirondacks, so I haven't been working too hard, but I've been working hard on getting a new song released, getting it mastered, called "Throw My Arms Around You." It is definitely related to everything we've been going through, and so I think music can be timely at this time. So can you hear me okay?
Yep.
And I'm offering some workshops, some webinars, one called The Inner Soliloquy. So that's on the last Monday of the month, just basically how we talk to ourselves as artists, as performers, as human beings. For the table, I've been a psychotherapist, music therapist, yoga therapist for like 25 years. So working with groups and individuals. And so if any of your teams need any support or any of your friends need support, all of that is, I put that on the table site. And See Me As I Am, I trademarked the name 5 years ago as a idea for a documentary. The idea was for social justice issues and compassion project. It started as a music video. I've been doing workshops with all different types of people all over the world this week, where we had different teams of people talking about the whole racism issue. And I'm trying to get to schools, and my idea is to create both a documentary and experiential workshops using chant, song, experiential learning through things like this, through the internet, through workshops, drama therapy, role play, because I think that's the way, but I want to record it as a documentary. So I'm looking, I definitely want to be partially directing it, but I definitely need producers and people involved, and anybody that's interested in being part of something like that, because I feel that the creative arts, music, and integrative therapies and communication that could be recorded through film is the way to make change with what's going on. So
that's great. It's funny, some years ago there was a therapist by the name of Robert Maurer who came out of UCLA. And one of his primary, he did individual therapy, but one of his primary focuses was on being a therapist to dysfunctional theater companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would work with creative companies that seemed to be not working very well together, and he would get them all working together. So it was he was a very interesting and very successful career, and that was his primary focus.
Yeah, that's really my dream, because it's, I mean, every set is like a family. I call it band therapy. I was called into ASCAP to do some consulting. I mean, so that, I mean, I'm an artist, I'm a singer songwriter, my stuff, you know, that first and foremost, but I think that, and working in film music and working in MCA, that I have a lot of experience as an actress as well. So I'm really able to help a lot of people in a lot of ways that way. So I would love any opportunity like that, because I, especially through Zoom and what's going on, I mean, it's really powerful. I work with families now where you can break up into dyads, into groups, and it really works. So
great.
Done. So I have a question. I'm having trouble putting my stuff out there. The New York table, I'm able to advertise, but I've gotten some help, but I'm just having trouble with getting it out there. So I don't know if anybody could help me with the technology part of the LA table.
Oh, David Bartlett can be a conduit to the guys who can help you with that.
Can you help there? Can you help with that one, David?
He's talking, but we can't hear him.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
I'll contact.
We can't hear you. It's okay.
Okay.
And tell everyone the link again on your the name of your music video that I liked.
It's Invisible Me. It's on YouTube, and it's Lisa Sklover artist page on Apple and Spotify. And I have a lot of music for production. That's what I wanted to say mainly. I forgot that part. So I have so much music about social justice and environmental issues and what's going on. So and Throw My Arms Around You will be released in a week. So
great.
Great.
Cool. Okay.
Yay.
Yay. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we have a new question from Willem Sowers, who asks, how will space aliens be portrayed in Space Command? Star Trek style, aka bumpy heads, or more realistic, aka Babylon 5?
No.
More so. I mean,
it's neither.
We're not going to have, so far, we don't have humanoid aliens at all. They're very, very different. And
different
so,
shape.
so the aliens we're building now are 8 feet tall. They're very unlike human beings, and the harvesters will be even more so. So yeah.
Our objective was to not make them humanoid,
right?
But also to give them social issues.
Sure.
Where they're, you know, in one case it's like immigrants.
Yeah.
Who are under the gun. And so they're very odd. They're very spooky
like
looking.
Refugees.
Like refugees.
Yeah. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But the thing is that we're trying to handle it not in the way they look human, but in terms of simply community. They're facing the same struggles that all communities face.
Yeah.
All sentient communities.
Yeah. So you'll see when we show you.
Yeah.
So okay. So let's see who's next. Where did she go?
Judith.
No, there was someone who dropped out, sadly. That's a shame. I was
Shy had to go. She was a little tired. She's down in New Orleans.
Yeah, well, in future, when I wish people would kind of like raise their hand or something, because
when we
would have taken her happily. So
yeah, she just said she wanted to just be among you. She didn't really have anything particular to say.
So we can do Judith and then Glenn. So let's do that. Judith, go ahead, please. Oh, we can't hear you yet.
That's not that bad a thing.
No, it's delicious.
There you go.
Sweet potato with cinnamon. Thane, happy belated birthday. I've had a really busy, fun, and productive week. Don't die from the shock, everybody. First of all, I've got a lawyer, and I'm going to have World War III, 4, and 5 with Sit and Sleep. So I wrote that letter. I took a workshop about 2 weeks ago with a casting director for voiceover. And my manager wanted me to get my audio demo done. So I've been listening. I have one. It's all nationals, but I had to cut it to a minute. It's now in the studio, and it will be done tomorrow. Yay! I just took a workshop with a casting director, and it was slow at first, and then I just kicked in, and it was good. And then I left everybody. I made everybody hysterical when I left, which was good because people you like people to see you're funny.
Yes.
I rewrote my demo, which I'm now calling Half Dead. And I'm taking a leaf from your page, Mark and Elaine. I'm going to do it with my friend Faye in New York.
Wow, okay.
Okay? And that's what I'm going to do. And she's very funny. And we've known each other for years. And it's about her anyway, her and I, our friendship. And I'm developing it into a series. And I've had a little nibble from someone at Netflix. So
wow,
that's kind of nice. I wrote 5 pitches for all my stuff. And yeah, my audio demo. And then on July 30th, I'm going to be taking an animation class with the same casting director from New York.
Wow, okay.
That's great.
And that's it.
Okay.
And then I'll get back to, then after that, I got to get back to my writing.
Yeah.
But you know, I
Okay.
got a manager who's pushing me, and thank God she's sending me. So gotta do what you gotta do.
Great.
Yay, all
Okay.
right, yay, all right.
Thank you.
Cheers. So anything else for Mr. Sci-Fi, Adam?
Yes, a very interesting question from Scott
Good.
Baker.
Great. Different Scott Baker.
It's a very long one, so I'll try and shorten it down as best I can.
Please.
Can I, talking about people, neurodiversity and people who are neurologically divergent, such as the autism spectrum, etc. Can a high-functioning neurodivergent human character, perhaps autistic, something else, be introduced to educate people about autism in Space Command?
That's interesting. It's an interesting suggestion. I haven't done that yet, but that's not to say I won't. I certainly agree with that aim.
Mark, if I may interrupt, if you're going to do something about autism, you should read a book by Ron Kaufman, R-A-U-N, Kaufman, called Sunrise. It's about a young boy who was autistic, and his parents, whom I knew, went into his world and pulled him out. And he's now writing books. They changed his diet, they changed everything. And he is now writing books.
Yeah, and I work with autistic adults and children and using music therapy.
Oh, wow. Good. Okay, well, thanks. Yeah, well, that's something definitely to consider. Absolutely.
That's a very good suggestion.
So, so now we go to Glenn. Go for it, Glenn. Oh, unmute your mic.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Hi, everyone. This is my first official meeting, so I'm glad to be here. So thank you for all your sharing. I sincerely appreciate that. I'm a writer, producer, actor. The writing came rather recently because I had a death experience in a car when I kind of transcended time and space and came back again. Then I got sponsored to go to Taiwan to meet some monks and get spiritual initiation. And when that happened, it opened up a part of my mind which enabled me to write this story called Tested. Every human being in time and space is actually tested, and we're in very inclement times now. And I'm looking for socially conscious change makers, not to point the way this is going on, but to eradicate it at the causal level. All wisdom lies in cause, not effect. It's already happened. We have to address why it's happening. And so this movie is a stepping stone to heaven. It's a faith-based drama combination. Hallmarks were interested, but they wanted to take away the meat and potatoes and said no. Netflix were interested, they wanted to recast someone else, so said no. So the upshot is I'm going to do it myself. It's like Rocky for the soul.
Sure.
And I had a good week. I met Daryl Marshak's coming on board. He used to be Leo DiCaprio's manager. He's going to help me executive produce it. And he got a person to give me a bunch of equipment. Glenn Plummer, who was in the Spike Lee movie, I think it was, Menace to Society, is signed up to be the main antagonist. So it was a very productive week.
Great.
that being said, I am looking for all sorts of crew. I'm going to need a good legal attorney if anyone's good at that, line producing, producer, acting, because I'm going to do a lot of recasting. And more importantly, though, I'm going to need some help with fundraising, because I believe I can shoot this for $20,000, because it's been in the works for about a year now. And I've got a lot of contacts regarding a studio I can get for 800 a day. I've got locations, I've got catering. It's kind of like an accident waiting to happen. And I think the reason it's going to be unbelievable is because of the timing. I referenced the Book of Revelation in my trailer, and it's any great poet must capture their time accurately. And I believe the timing for this movie is impeccable, because the world is very fragmented. We're fragmented in religion. We're fragmented in the racial divide. There's no rainbow coalition, and the ecological chain is breaking. Big farmers pumping out drugs. We're in a state here that socially conscious change makers must band together to correct the situation. And as an artist, I feel an obligation. There's no self-aggrandizement here. You know, it's to help the world. You know, when you leave this world, you want to make it a better place. So I'm attempting to do that. So if there's anyone that's got any ideas, who's like-minded, who wants to make the world a little better, any ideas to raise the funds in social media, or they know any angel investors, or any talented editors, production people, you can reach me at glennratcliffe@icloud.com. And the website is just Glenn-Ratcliffe. That's what shows my work. And the production company website is Glenn, J is Jane, productionsgroup.com. And the trailer of the movie's on there, and people who are attached to it are on there as well.
Great.
So, have you considered crowdfunding?
Well, he was talking about that.
No, I've not actually. I was hustling all week to get equipment, so the volunteer gave me all the equipment.
That's good.
And Daryl Marshek's going to maybe bring in Eric Roberts to be a cameo and stuff. So it's all fitting in, but I still need to get the cash. And when I speak to people about the subject matter, there's a lot of people like Hallmark. They want to commercialize it. Oh, you can't make everyone equal. You can't do this. You can't do that. You know.
What I would suggest you do is go onto the Kickstarter website and the Indiegogo website. I'm sorry, say that again.
Oh. No, I was just seeing a little blurb, and I've got my cell phone here. But go ahead, sure. Kickstarter.
Go to Kickstarter.com and go to Indiegogo.com. Those are two of the leading crowdfunding websites. There's also one called Seed and Spark, which is.
I got that from you. Yeah, you sent that. Yeah.
So, but what you want to do is you want to go onto those sites and kind of poke around and see which campaigns are succeeding and why, and really kind of get under the hood a little bit. And particularly look at ones that sort of stand for something similar to what you stand for. Because if there's something that's similar to what you stand for and they've succeeded, you can reach out to those people and say, hey, I'd just love some advice. Don't ask people to do the heavy lifting. Don't ask people to do the work. But people who succeed often are happy to share advice. And that's what I would start with the successful model and work back from that.
So you're saying you said Kickstarter, what else?
Indiegogo.
Indiegogo and then Seed.
Yeah. Those three. Yeah, and just check out the campaigns and see who succeeded, because you'll see it's very clear who succeeds and who doesn't and why. And that will give you guidance as to how to do what you want to do effectively.
Yeah. Is there someone said there's a place you can put the script up that you pay for?
Well, I don't know about that one.
But
yeah, you put a script up someplace and people read it and stuff.
Well, there's like Inktip, there's the Blacklist, those are two of them. But again, always think about what's the most direct route to what you need. If you just need $20,000, that's not a lot of money.
No, it's not.
I would just figure out what to do. That would be the quickest way to get that with the least headache.
The thing about these sites is that large numbers of people felt that entrepreneurs were not giving them what they wanted, corporate entrepreneurs. And so they said, well, we've got money, that they just go for investment. They're there for little investments and sometimes larger investments. And so they're just seeing what's out there where they can help change the world in ways that they would prefer the world to be, to see the kind of movies that they want to see or the kind of books they want. And so it's a question of creating community. And reaching out to the right group of people. Like for Space Command, we're reaching out to a science fiction community worldwide. But we wouldn't want to work out, reach out to a sports community because they wouldn't be happy. We're not offering them the excitement of sport. We're offering them science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So you check out the successful projects, and then you start to say, what communities do I need to reach out to?
Yes.
To let them know about my funding charge.
Well, give me an example of that, because it's not a faith-based, because it's a unification principle. So I can't go to the Christian people and go, I need your cash, because I'm trying to say that every religion is equal here.
Go onto those sites and see similar themed projects. They don't necessarily have to be films. They could be books or, whatever. But you'll quickly see what's on your wavelength. And I mean, again, what I do.
Veganism is a big one too.
Well, yeah,
that's rampant through the movie about being a vegan.
Oh no, I mean, you absolutely, yeah. But the point is, see what works, and then take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and then try stuff until what you do works.
I have an idea, Mark.
Okay, go ahead.
So, a sort of a global view of almost every issue you can ever imagine is human rights. Now, somewhere in the human rights world of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights is a human right that applies one way or the other in that direction, freedom of religion, for example. So if you talk about a human rights issue, people that are interested in that sort of world, their ears prick up, and you can have a conversation. That might be a way in.
Mm-hmm.
So I deal with a couple of charities with human rights issues, and it's a very niche market. They're very, very specific about what they support. They want to handle, human sex trafficking in northern Cambodia with girls. That's it.
Yeah.
They want to fix that problem. They don't want to fix any problems in Laos or, what I'm saying? It's a very crazy world, but it might open the door to a conversation you can have with them that they might find a way to meet some common ground with you.
Yeah.
And don't tar any group with one brush, because the evangelicals, I'm sure, would not be interested, but the Council of Churches is working for, to
Who's that?
The Council of Churches. The Council of Churches.
The Council of Churches.
And to bring people together. I'm not an expert on that because I was brought up by communists, and they did not lean into religion very heavily. But in terms of but I often sidestep that because I am also, with my films, dealing with the human condition. And some of my characters are very religious, some of my characters are not religious at all, but the whole thing is the human heart, right? And so there are many people, religious or not religious, who believe in the same basic thing. They just have to take different roads to get to the same place.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I think that gives
good. That gives me a place to start. So thank you for that, and please feel free to contact me, any actors or lighting people. I'm in the tapes will go to Daryl Marshak. He's going to be executive producer. He used to be DiCaprio's manager, so that's where I'll send the acting tapes. I can send you an NDA and a script, and you can send your tape in.
Great. Perfect. Hey, 3 cheers. So Adam, is there any sci-fi question for Chance?
No questions, just a very nice conversation about what you guys were talking about in the chat. So
great.
We have an engaged audience, which is very good to hear.
Terrific. So I guess we go to Earl Smith. Go for it, Earl.
Hey. Earl Smith here, multi-award-winning composer, sound designer, sound editor. So nothing's so much new for me. Waiting on Mark. I'll be scoring his film and doing sound design on his film. And I have another short film in the works, and they have me at the highest consideration. So we're dealing with where ADR will be, and my involvement is there. I'll be locking that film down as well as also sound designer and composer. The one thing that I'll add to Savings the crowdfunding, and I've heard, Mark, I believe you guys have been on Patreon.com or Patreon.
Yes.
So Patreon was started by a guy by the name of Jack Conti. And Jack Conti and his girlfriend Natalie Dawn, they're married now. What they used to do is cover videos. And while they're dating, and they would put them up maybe one a month, and they'd be crazy videos, and it would get a lot of attention. And I guess about after 3 years of doing this, Natalie, who's also a songwriter, decided I'm going to do a Kickstarter campaign and asked for $20,000 to do her 5-song EP. Well, it's a 54-day campaign, and instead of getting $20, she ended up raising $104,000.
Wow.
And that was done because they had been doing these cover songs every month, every few weeks, and they already had this large following.
Yes.
So Jack had the idea, well, what about people who are constantly putting out content instead of just raising one, money for one project? And that's how he got the idea of Patreon. So taking a step further on that, and me thinking about, well, how can I market myself as a stronger composer?
Yes.
And since I'm also a instrumentalist, I decided, well, why not do the same thing, cover songs? So I did my first one 3 weeks ago, Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Cool.
Right now it's a little over 1,800 views on Facebook. So I'm getting some traction, and I'm getting ready to record my next one. So I was thinking, that might be, and I'm watching you, Mark and Elaine, and I love you guys so much because you guys are such great role models in your exampleship of what you do. And I'm noticing that as this is being recorded and aired on YouTube, and you put out constant content, that there too, it's building that network of people that follow and will support. And because you guys are such good people, you just want to, whatever you need, I got you. And I see how you give back. So that's the only thing new for me. I'm following your guys' example in that, and that story about Jack Conti. So Glenn, that's one way to do it. And in those, I saw another girl. Her name is Kavehi, and she would do these looping things, recording herself cover songs. And for a couple of years, not much traction, but she did one, and then overnight, boom, she had 5 million views and this following. But a lot of it, what I noticed was what you're giving back. And like with Mark, like they'll give money, they'll be a part because you give these little things that they can't get anywhere else.
Yes.
And that makes them feel a part of it.
Well, yeah. Well, also a big part of it is do something. I mean, a lot of people are waiting for sort of like somebody else to say, go, you'll get into action. No, make it, put it out. I mean, we all can have our own networks now, thanks to YouTube. We all can have content that the world can share. It's like start building, as you say, start building your fan base. Even if it starts small, it's something to start with,
Right.
And then you try stuff and you see what works and what doesn't work, and you go from there, and then you start building alliances, and on you go. It's an amazing time for artists. It's far better than it was 30 or 40 years ago when you couldn't do these kind of things. So it's great. So what do you need, Earl? How can we help you?
I'll just throw one more thing out, and I've recognized I'm really great with sound. I'm really great with fixing audio problems, and I teach music, so I've got quite a few students, so money comes in. If you guys got problems with sound and you're not sure what to do, or there's just issues, send me an email, Earl F. Smith. I'm willing to help out. Mark is doing his podcast, and he sent me his audio last night. I'm just going to clean it up. It's not going to take me long to do it. I'm going to send it back. We're a big family, and I'm willing to contribute to the family.
Cool. That's great. 3 cheers. Yay, Earl. Great. So, Adam, are there any Mr. Sci-Fi questions, or we'll go to Gino if not?
Yeah, we have another question from Scott Baker.
Great.
Just rolling out with these great questions.
Well,
did you, Mr. Sci-Fi, did you enjoy Buckaroo Banzai? I have a feeling that a Netflix version of it, serialized, could work. What do you think?
I liked Buckaroo Banzai, but when things try deliberately to become cult classics, often they fall short because rather than just being their own thing that then develops its own cult following, they're sort of going out with that on their sleeve. So I liked it, but it's not one of my favorite things. And I think over the years they tried to do Buckaroo Banzai as a TV show, and it never actually got going. I know they did pilots. It's I think one could take a shot at it if done well, because in a way Buckaroo Banzai is really a kind of a comment on Doc Savage, which was a pulp hero that came out of the 30s. And so yeah, I mean, there's definitely room for that kind of an idea. Sure, you bet.
Have you seen it lately?
Not,
saw it in the theater and liked it. Saw it a year or two ago. It doesn't quite hold up.
Yeah, exactly. So Gino, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
Good.
Yeah. And to the two Daves, I've got the headphones on right away.
Good.
A little strong though. A little strong. Back it up just a little bit there.
Oh, like right there.
A little close to your mouth. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Still too close to your mouth.
Not too close.
No, it is. You got to move it away from your mouth.
Okay. Like
okay.
That's good. Okay.
Better.
Hey.
Okay. Good. Hi, Gino. Kick-ass actor, kick-ass filmmaker, comedian. This past weekend, Sheila Thompson, a table member, she's a casting director. She helped organize one of our year-end. Mark and Elaine, maybe correct me. That I know she's one of the help organizers for the last holiday party.
Yes.
She did it. She's great.
She's terrific.
She's absolutely invaluable.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we shot a Zoom movie. So that was great. We shot on two weekends and some rehearsals. It was, it was so great to be able to just be in the mix, even though I don't want to say even though it's Zoom, because it's just me being me. And I can't remember who was saying that just now. Yeah, I think it was the guy in the car, Glenn. And she's done with the final cut. She said she'll send it to us tomorrow. Hopefully she'll put it out on the email, because she loves this Jamaican accent that I did. So real happy about that, and just to keep going on with all those things in that regard. And then finally, I'm going to put another email out tonight myself, because I'd like to see some other Zoom content, just to get a few more ideas for myself for my short. Also great to see new people on tonight. Also, I'm available for table reads. If I meet your specs for any particular character that you may be looking for, I'd be honored to read for you. And there was one other thing. Yeah, okay, that's it.
Hey, Gino. Anything else, Adam, from any other Mr. Sci-Fi questions?
No, not really. Not right now.
Okay.
Move on.
Great.
Yeah.
I know, but also, and I'm not seeing a name of the person with the foliage behind her. I'm not seeing a name there. So if that, yeah, that's you. Yes.
Yes, hi.
So if you want to unmute.
Yeah, that's me, Jenny.
Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi. I don't know why your name doesn't show up, but okay, go ahead, please.
I'm Jenny Brundage. I live in Arizona, so I'm, here virtually. And I do a little bit of everything. Right now, I have a short script. I don't want to produce it, but if it's comedic and it's relating to to COVID, it's something probably about 5 minutes. If anyone's interested in teaming up on a project with that, it could be shot remotely,
Okay.
And also if anyone needs help looking stuff up, or beyond what a typical Google or whatever search, I'm always there to pitch in if someone needs help.
Okay, great.
Guys, I'll be back shortly. That the dogs are.
Need to go
I'll
do
be
their
right back.
dog thing.
Just have to walk around the block.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's great.
Cool.
Research is not a lot of people's strength, myself included.
That's great. Anything else, Jenny, that you need?
I'm going to reach out to Earl. I'm still stuck on this podcast thing that I'm trying to get up. I have the website up at least.
Cool.
For the Stunned Skies, and I still don't have the first podcast up because I keep thinking that it's error with me, like user error, but then things keep turning out to be maybe computer error, and I'm not sure where I'm running into which one. Because one I can just learn from, but then I go to videos and I'm all, wait a minute, this I thought this was me. It's the computer doing something weird.
Cool. So that's just enlist other people's help, and you can. I mean, I find that if I don't know how to do something, it speeds the plow a lot. If I reach out to others and just figure out how stuff gets done, So yeah.
And
so
after I get that going, I'll be looking for some voice actors, and I know a couple of people have already reached out. But yeah.
Okay. Yay. So Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi?
And Earl, thank your daughter for being part of Space Command. Respect.
Hey, Mark, Dave Edison just said thank you for being part of Space Command.
Mark says it too.
And Mark says it too.
Yeah. So
you gonna say something? Thank you. She said thank you.
Very welcome.
She said she had fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I guess Judy Beecher, you're next. Go for it. Unmute.
Hi. Hi, everyone. So good to see everyone. I haven't been on in a while.
No, it's been a while. How are you doing?
I've been in my own little world.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was doing. Just trying to get back to myself, So what has been going on? I don't even know. It is June. It is almost mid-June, which is crazy.
It's July. We're here in Los Angeles. It's July.
Oh, really? Already?
Yeah. So,
well, I'm in New York City.
Yeah, so there's a time difference.
Beautiful right now. It's really, really gorgeous. I was sitting up on my roof before. So I've my auditions, I was crazily auditioning, a couple months ago, and then I stopped, and now I just got a whole bunch of auditions again today. I got 4 auditions.
That's great.
And was offered to read in front of producers and my short film, I've been having a lot of challenges with that. A couple of the actors I was supposed to work with dropped out. I edited together a little piece of the beginning part of the film. I cast someone else in the film. My camera is now making funny noises as of tonight. As I was trying to film these auditions, all of a sudden it's making this crackling noise, and I don't know if it's the microphone or the camera. It's just crackling, and I couldn't even film the auditions because it was crackling too much.
Wow.
So I don't know what to do with that. And I'm looking for also support in New York, maybe with help with filming and getting involved with it, because it's very hard. My friend who was staying with me for 3.5 months during the quarantine was shooting it, and she left and went back to Lebanon. So I've tried to do it by myself, which is very challenging to shoot myself while I'm acting and set the things, because I can't see what I'm doing in the cameras and stuff, and I can't focus it. So it's a little bit challenging to actually do that. I was doing it. I did do a couple of scenes, but it would be better to have support. And I went and I bought a Zoom microphone and some clip-on lavs. I spent a lot of money on to have good sound for this. But now I'm kind of cameraless, so I'm not sure what to do with the camera.
Well, I mean, you could reach out to Patrick, who's the moderator of the New York table, and see if he has a suggestion or can recommend you to someone in New York. That's one possibility. Again, I mean, we're all sort of learning how to navigate in this world of such strange rules that change day by day, you know. And but again, my whole method of doing things, and David Bartlett would certainly affirm this, as would Dave Edison's, is to look at the simplest way of doing something, the most direct way of doing it. And that doesn't mean the easiest, but it just means it's like, okay,
Who are you? Who are you, and what have you done with Mark?
really, exactly. Well, but the point being is like, okay, let's see what I can do that makes this easy. What can I do that makes this, you know? So again, like with Ripple Effect, with the 2-hour Space Command episode, I said, okay, we're going to have all of our actors shoot with their own cameras, and whether it's a cell phone, whether it's a computer, whether it's a 4K, whatever it is, we'll make it work. And you know, and that's because of Dave's expertise and David Bartlett's expertise. You know,
they did it on green screens, though.
yeah,
Right?
sometimes in some cases, yes, not across the board. We used an enormous bag of tricks in that episode, for all sorts of stuff. We used existing footage. We used VFX shots that we hadn't yet utilized. We used green screen. We had one scene with 2 actors who were shooting in different countries and put them together in the same room. I mean, it was you know, lots of stuff. But again, it's just sort of like
experts like Dave Edison to
yes.
And if I throw
Dave,
in there,
Dave is a man among men, you know, and we're about to post the interview I just did with him. He's you know, it was probably the best interview that we'll ever post on Mr. Sci-Fi. Yeah, and
tinkerer. I'm a tinkerer.
He is, and yeah. So Judy, so what else beyond that? What else do you need?
What else do I need? Well, I am also available for any, you know, table reads. I'm trying to get my acting thing back in again, moving again. I'm working. I also, my old, I have an intern that I'm working with from, through the Cannes Film Festival. They set me up with an intern it's in Tennessee.
Huh, that's fun.
And she's a fabulous editor. So I'm going to see if, you know, maybe she can do something with me for this. She's really good. And so I'm here. This is very rare to have anybody else in my home, but my friend, I dragged him in here so he could say hi to you. He's the producer, and he's a producer and actor. The film I did, Tango Shalom, which is getting distribution as we speak. I don't know where yet, but it's getting distribution. So he's here. So I wanted to introduce Claudio, a dear friend, and
great. Hi, Claudio.
Hi.
Good to meet you. So great.
He's one of the co-writer, producer of Tango Shalom, and casting director. He cast me in the movie. And,
wow.
Yeah, so,
that's great. That's great. Well, Judy can tell you.
Our first feature narrative that we finished.
Great. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a work of art, and it's something that can be appreciated by artists more than more commercial distributors. You know what I mean? So it has to be somebody who really knows the art of acting and directing and screenwriting and all that, and who can appreciate the art, the craft, and who's also a distributor. Then you know, I think this movie is going to go places. You know.
Good. Well, that's
gems that not all distributors would want, because they might not see it as commercial, but it's about a Hasidic rabbi who thinks that he believes that God is telling him he should dance the tango. He believes God is telling him he should find a way to solve his problems. He's got a lot of financial problems, and it's very au courant because of our financial problems right now going on, coronavirus and all that stuff. But it has a message of peace and tolerance, which is, you know, an inclusion, which is really needed at this time. So it's a movie that everybody will love. It's a feel-good movie. It's not just a Jewish film, because it's got an international cast. It also has different religions in this film. the Muslims, the Sikh, the Christians. So it's really an international film for the whole world to see. It's also a dance movie. So you probably know that dance movies are really hard to do. But we had a good team. Gabe Bologna, who's the son of Renee Taylor, and Joseph Bologna is the one that directed the film.
How fun.
And yes, so it was a love of the art and people believing in the project. So everybody who was in this project, they really put a lot of effort to make this project. And it's really a work of art. It's really a work of art.
Well, that's
So,
great. Well, congratulations. And,
Thank you. Thank you.
you know, I hope it
I'm
brings.
also an actor. You know, if anybody's looking for anybody that looks like me right now.
With the mask.
Yes, exactly.
A masked man.
Yeah.
The movie's called Tango Shalom, by the way. You know.
Great. Terrific. Well, great. Well,
As an actor, I was also in a movie called Mudbound. I don't know if anybody saw that movie, Mudbound.
Yes, that was a great film. So cool. That's great. So
I played the Austrian Jewish doctor in the movie. Mudbound.
oh, that's great. Yeah. So now with Shalom Tango, do you have distribution yet, or are you looking for distribution?
We're looking for distribution right now.
We're still looking for distribution.
Tango Shalom. It's
Okay. Great. Okay, so then we can keep an eye out. And see.
We have a good sales agent, and you know, we're gonna get there. The Tango Shalom is gonna find a home, right home. You know, where, you know, this movie is all about being part of a movie that everybody loves to be part of.
Great.
So the distributor who's gonna love our movie and then is gonna believe in our movie, he's gonna make the most money out of this because they will know how good this movie is.
Great. Well, that's great. Well, terrific.
We all believe in it. We all believe
in it.
I want to thank you. I want to congratulate you, Mark, on your nomination. I just saw that for Emmy nomination, and everybody on Space Command. So
well, yeah, we just keep going.
Wow.
Thanks. It's fun stuff. But thank you, Judy. Yay! 3 cheers. So, Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question? And then we'll go to
none yet.
Okay. So John Watson, you're up if you'd like a turn. If you want to unmute.
But I will. I do want to say, because there's a little bit of talk about the mask. If I remember correctly, Judy, your friend there is visiting, not cohabitating, right?
Visiting, yes. That's why he's wearing a mask.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, he's visiting. He just rode his bicycle all the way down from Harlem, and I live all the way downtown in Tribeca, so he rode it all the way down. So
there you go.
And that's why, yeah.
Yeah, that's why he has a mask on. He just,
you see the shield right here? You see the shield?
Oh yeah, that'll work.
Cool. So John, go
for it, John. If you're biking,
yeah, hi. No, I'm just on here getting to know people. You know, I know you're an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know your name. Oh, Judy. Yeah, I know you're an actor, right? Trying to get back in acting, right?
Yeah. We went over that. Sure.
Yes. Yeah, I'm an actress. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm sure you have IMDb. I'm trying to collect names and stuff. You know, actors, directors, writers, and so I'm working on something right now, but it's different. But that's basically what I'm doing on Zoom here. So
cool. Okay.
Nothing big.
Great.
I'll put my info in the chat.
Okay. Cool. Great.
Okay, thanks.
So Adam, I guess it's your turn. I don't want to forget you.
All right, great. I was just about to look up my IMDb and text it to John, but I'll do that after.
Yeah.
Hi guys, my name's Adam Sartain. What's yours? No, I am an actor, a voice actor with over 75 different voices, accents, impersonations under my belt. And by under my belt doesn't mean I've done them all professionally yet, but I can do them. And I have done some professionally, including Ed Sullivan, but that's another story. I'm also an associate producer on Space Command, yay! Including running a lot of these Zoom type meetings, including our, I helped facilitate our very first ever Space Command online convention, which was really cool. So I do have that skill. If you're looking to do either like an online podcast or something like that, I can help you facilitate that through Zoom. And I have lots of skills. I play the tuba. Right now I've just been getting a bunch of voiceover auditions, including one for a Disney cartoon that I'm really hoping I at least make it to the next round. Callbacks or something for. That would be very nice. And just I've been doing table reads. Those are also fun. And I mean, other than that, Space Command's pretty much taken up most of my time, so which I am very happy of. Mark's going to be interviewing me tomorrow as part of the Spotlight interviews, so I'm very excited about that, being the interviewee rather than the interviewer.
Yes, exactly. That's fun. Well, great. I look forward to it.
It's a rare treat. Yeah.
Yes. Anything else you need?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Yay. 3 cheers. Now, Elaine,
how do you send a chat? How do you send information here? Comments?
Oh, there's a little button that says chat at the bottom.
Where is it? It says mute, stop video, share content, participants, and more.
It could be
more. It's under more.
Okay, I click on more, and it says chat.
There you go.
That's where I can put comments.
That's the one.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Terrific. And so Elaine will be back in a moment, hopefully, and she can have her turn. A lot's going on with her. But I'll take my turn now since Elaine is walking dogs. So our dogs, thank God, not random dogs. So boy, lots going on. We've been continuing the Space Command convention and having interviews every day. We have a Kickstarter campaign going that's up to $18,000 so far in just like a week, which is good. And the person who was going to be running it turned out not to run it, so I had to jump in and teach myself how to do this. And it's a learning curve, but we'll see how it all goes. But so far, so good. One of our investors just put in a sizable amount of money, which keeps us going forward. We finished Ripple Effect. We finished the audio prequel. We finished the first episode of the pilot. We're working on the second hour. We're working on the third hour. We're ramping up to shoot the fourth hour. It's busy times. I'm writing Greenlighting Yourself, which is the new book. We're starting a Greenlighting Yourself podcast, where we'll be talking to people who successfully make movies and TV shows. We had a great conversation with the head of Cachette, who is a very, very, very smart guy. So he's asked us to submit some of our projects to him. So we're going to be doing that. And, it keeps going. David gave us a great tour of our studio the other day and showed us where we're headed, where things stand and where we're going. And that was very good because we're going to be shooting a lot more in the near future. And we're finishing the rewrite of the pilot of Sweet Haven, which is the show I'm creating with Rockne O'Bannon, who's executive producer of Evil on CBS. And so we're going to have a table read with our actors, a Zoom table read with our actors, probably in the next couple of weeks. And so it's a pretty amazing time all round. And Elaine is back. Yay. It's just in time for your turn, Elaine. So, so that's where I stand right now. So if anyone wants to help get the word out on the Kickstarter campaign, that would be enormously appreciated. And, it's just because we have to hit 48,000 on that campaign in the next 34 days, or we don't get to keep the money. So it's very important we hit our targets. So, so that's about it, Elaine. I can put that, hang on, we'll be right back, and Elaine will have her turn. Elaine.
After these messages from Space Command. This this is brought to you by Space Command. Thank you. Oh.
Hi guys. That was a walk. Hello. No, it's good to see everybody. Things are moving along. I'm so glad everyone's busy because the other way lies depression. And so yes, just plugging along, sorting out with Mr. Bartlett, the COVID situation to make sure that we're safe and we follow the rules, but still get things made and use our imaginations. So yeah, just trying to doing the research that I always advertise, researching the marketplace for my particular kind of work, and working along with Space Command. So that's it for me right now. And thanks so much for joining us on your Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So great. So so I think we've come to the end of another swell session, and we'll be here next Thursday. And if you need to reach us, we're you know how to get us. markzickery@gmail.com, ElaineZickery@gmail.com. And that's about it for now. So thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.